Hi everybody, today's video is on how to make a henna paste with both Raj and Jamila powders. The video was requested by Angelica Jade on YouTube, so let's get going. Add around 12 grams of Jamila henna powder into a glass or plastic bowl. Add 8 grams of Rajasthani or Indian henna powder, both are the same thing, into the bowl. In this video I accidentally added a couple more grams of Raj here. I like to add more Jamila than Raj because too much Raj can result in an excessively gooey formula. Add approximately 10 grams of sugar. This will prevent your henna crumbling off when it's dry and will also help create a stringier formula. So if you don't have something to measure with, 10 grams of sugar is around 2 teaspoons. Then add lemon juice to the consistency that you want the paste to be. So this is a part that most beginners struggle with. So I have intentionally kept in all the clips showing me adding lemon juice and mixing. The point behind me doing this is so you can see how the paste develops every time you add lemon juice in. This way, when you make your own, it's easier for you to understand what your paste is doing and to figure out when you should stop adding liquid. I used the end of a plastic knife to mix this with. I find that doing this wastes less paste than if you were to use a spoon. It also makes it easier to drop henna paste into the henna cone at the end. I chose to only add 20 grams of henna in this recipe because when you're beginning, this is usually an easy amount to make. Finding the right paste consistency gets harder the more powder you use, so I plan on also showing you how to mix henna paste with 50 grams of henna at some point in the future. Raj and Jamila, if mixed separately, also create different paste consistencies. Raj is far more gooey and stringy, whereas Jamila is creamy. This means that each paste shows different signs for when you should stop adding in liquid to the paste, and you'll know what I mean by that nearing the end of the video. For this reason, I think it might be useful to also show paste recipes using only Raj and only Jamila henna powders, but that won't be for a while yet. I will also add 7 drops of tea tree essential oil. I have found that adding the essential oil in before you leave the paste out for dye release helps the paste stain better rather than adding it in after the dye release process. Essential oil is pretty important because without it you will not get as dark a stain. I will probably do a separate video about these as well. Please note though that essential oils are different to oils like olive or coconut oils, and the latter type of oils will not help your henna paste. Make sure you only add essential oils in. Other essential oils which henna artists like to use include Kajaput oil, Ravinsara and lavender oils. Lavender is the safest to use and is the recommended essential oil to use on pregnant women and children. So this is the part where you watch me continuously add lemon juice and mix it. When the consistency reaches this point, I start to do my 4 checks to assess when I should stop adding in liquid. Firstly, I check to make sure that the henna paste which hangs off the spoon wiggles when I shake the spoon. If it's not wiggling, there's not enough liquid. Then I scrape the spoon across the bottom of the bowl and watch how the paste fills in the gap left. If it pools together like oil or water, it has way too much liquid in it, but as I start my 4 tests quite early on, I shouldn't ever reach this stage. I want the henna to pool together slowly and to not quite combine together again. Then I put a line of henna paste on top of the rest of the henna. The paste should stay sitting on the surface and not fuse with the rest of the henna. This is how I know that the paste will hold its shape when I apply it to the skin, rather than spreading out and ruining the design. You could actually leave your henna paste like this, because from this point onwards, how much liquid you add in is really based on your personal choice. I'm going to add more lemon juice. Soon you'll see how my chosen paste consistency comes out of the cone. You don't need to get your perfect paste consistency before dye release if you don't want to. In fact, there's really no point because the dye release process will dry out your formula somewhat anyway. However, because of this, if you're unsure of how much liquid to add in, experimenting by adding more and more liquid in should happen before dye release. Because if you accidentally add too much, you should be able to dry a lot of it out by the end of the dye release process. The fourth check is to lift the paste onto the spoon and watch how it drops back down into the bowl. I want it to look silky smooth as it drops back down, and of course for the dropped henna to stay on top of rather than fusing with the henna at the bottom. Now I'm going to cover the paste with cling film. I want to make sure my paste doesn't dry out too much, so I'm pressing the first cling film on top of the henna to remove as much air as possible. Then I took a second piece of cling film and wrapped the bowl from underneath to stop air getting in as much as possible. If you have added too much liquid into your paste, I would recommend only putting one cling film on top of the bowl, and also don't press the cling film down onto the paste, just wrap it like you would to protect uneaten food in a bowl. This will help some air to go in and to allow the formula to dry out a little bit more to help you get back to the paste consistency that you want. I checked for dye release by scraping the top of the paste off and seeing the colour underneath. The change in colour is an indication that dye release has happened, but it is not a conclusive test, so you should always do a patch test as well to check for dye release. I had left the paste out for 48 hours and this is the stain it achieved. That's roughly where you want it to be. A little darker is better, but this is also okay. When I'm putting the paste into my cone, I want to see that the paste is thick enough to require some coaxing to drop into the cone. And here is how the paste comes out of my cone. I'm trailing the henna paste line, and I'm able to do this almost perfectly because of the Raj powder and the sugar in the paste formula. The perfect dot, on the other hand, is courtesy of the Jamila powder. Finally, with 20 grams of henna powder, you can make about 4 18 to 20 gram henna cones. So that's it. I hope this video was useful for you guys, and a little heads up, I won't be posting on Fridays until further notice, but I will try my hardest to continue posting videos on Wednesdays. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.